All right, Taylor. Well, I'm so glad that you're here and you're joining me in this moment to be able to just talk about your story. And for those of you that are just joining and jumping on, my name is Jacob Yarbrough, and I've had the privilege of working with Taylor over these last 13 weeks and just seeing the change, the transformation, and seeing all of Taylor, all of your hard work pay off. And so that's why we're here today, to be able to talk through that and for you to get a chance to share your experience and your story, because it's been a good one. And honestly, it's been a privilege getting to work with you. So Taylor, if you wouldn't mind just taking it away, just starting by just introducing yourself and just a little bit about who you are, maybe a tiny bit of background. And can you talk about just start with where you were and the place that you were in when we first met about 14 weeks ago?
Yes. So, name is Taylor, district manager for Junior Achievement organization that helps children of all ages with financial literacy and work readiness. And I have a wife and four beautiful children. When we met, 14, 15 weeks ago or whenever, you know, I was in the middle of trying to change up my lifestyle. I had gotten to a point where I really just, the weight was out of control, and I just wanted to get healthier for myself and for my family. I was tired of having aches and pains all the time from, just moving around, even for an afternoon and being sore the next day. So, I really started down the journey. And the first bit of weight that I lost was really just not eating like total garbage and just moving around more. But once I started to hit a plateau, I knew I needed some help. To get to the goals that I had set for myself. And so, through various connections, Jacob and I got together, and we put a plan together, and really worked on achieving not just number goals, but other goals as well. And it was a fun 14 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. It was a fun 14 weeks, and I definitely got to. It was fun for me getting to experience your journey and your process. And I'd love for you to speak to that place where you mentioned just early on where you had lost some weight and you plateaued and you hit a wall there. Uh, what were some things that maybe you had tried before in the past and didn't work, or maybe they only worked to a certain extent? What were some things you tried in the past?
Well, in the past, I had tried, a fad diet like keto, but I mean, keto was a great starter diet, but something intellectually doesn't say right when you can say, "Hey, I can eat a pound of bacon every day." That just, after a
This is
while, you're
true.
just like, that's not right. And I'm not just going to sit there and eat four salads a day. That's not healthy either. You're starving yourself out. So, having to find a middle ground was super important on being able to consume enough food so you don't feel hungry all the time, along with consuming, I don't want to say the right food, but the best food that presents itself at whatever meal you're doing. And so, really, that guidance. And then also, I'd been a while since I had been in the gym, but when I started this journey, I'd been in the gym for a while, but really just coming up with a whole body approach to exercise. I will say that first week when I saw that first HIIT workout, less than enthused about a HIIT workout. But, you know, like you and I talked about, and like a lot of people talk about, to get the change you want, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And so
Right.
a HIIT workout was definitely out of the comfort zone. They're still out of the comfort zone, but they're
Well, if
great
you're doing it
workouts.
right, I don't know if hit is ever comfortable, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it's not. It's 14 minutes of not comfortable, but um, but to see the change, you just got to say, okay, we got this exercise. This next 30 minutes is going to stink. but give it everything you got for 30, and then we'll take 30, 45 seconds off and regroup and go again.
That's great. So learning new things, changing what you were doing altogether, maybe jumping off the bacon diet, right? Just didn't sit right. But full disclosure, we never eliminated bacon from your diet completely. Right? It was still on the table. But maybe you can talk about what were some of the things that through our experience working together, what were maybe some of the things? I mean, we worked on fitness, we worked on nutrition, and we worked on mindset all together during this time of 12 weeks. What were some of the things that really hit home for you, and that really made a difference for where you were at and as we were working together?
A couple of things. One is, your big fear when, you start something new is, well, A, can you do it? And then B is the overload of information. And the thing that I really liked the first 6 weeks that we were together was each week we focused on something different. So I don't remember the exact order, but one of the weeks we focused on was consuming more vegetables. Okay, consuming vegetables with every meal, which admittedly still is one of my more difficult points. But the fact is, every week we didn't try to do six new things. We tried to do one new thing, and that plateauing allowed a to start forming better habits. But also, you didn't have to worry about 19 different things. It was okay. I know I need to eat vegetables with every meal. Okay, I can work on that, and then work on the workouts as well. So that was really nice. And then you and I had talked about changing the language because it changes our mindset. Not calling it a cheat meal necessarily, or I had a cheat meal, or I had a bad meal. It was okay. We had a meal that wasn't desirable, but did we choose the best option that was presented to us? And hopefully that answer was yes. And then realizing, based on the protein, the parameters that we kind of set, agreed upon for our
Yeah,
goals, that okay, I ate all of my fat in one meal. Well, okay, that stinks, but the rest of your day now, we just have to be more disciplined, and that's okay that we ate all of our fat in one meal. We just now know the rest of our day we have to have some extra discipline to make sure we're not adding a ton of extra fat to our day. So I know a lot of times when people diet or life, whatever, change their foods, they're like, I
yeah,
had a really bad meal. Well, if the meal was within parameters, it was within parameters. You just now have to focus a little harder on the next meal, making sure that you're staying under your carbs, or right at your carbs, or fat, or whatever parameters you agree upon. That there's no such thing as a cheat meal. There's just that meal might limit your options for your next meal.
yeah. That's so good. And I remember that conversation. We've had a lot of those good, just pivotal and perspective conversations along the way, and it's been really cool to see. I mean, a couple of words you just used, those habits and discipline. There was that focused effort every single week, and I saw that out of you, and you crushed it. I mean, really, each week it was like, okay, there's something new that Taylor has. I know that there's at least one or two things that Taylor has accomplished this week because you had that focused effort about you. And every day, those little things over time really added up to results for you. And why don't you take a second and just talk about what were some of the things on the other side of this now that you have gained as a result of the program and of your hard work?
Yeah. So first off, I've always loved going to the gym, but now the gym is almost like a non-negotiable for me, from the sense that I feel so much better when I leave the gym. Yeah, I might be exhausted when I leave, but within 20 minutes, I feel pretty decent, depending on the workout, and I have so much more energy, and I have more patience with my young family. And
Oh,
the great part is I work out at the end of my day. And so for me, it's a great way, all the frustrations, all the stress, I can just leave it in the weight room. The weights don't care what I say to them or do to them. You know, they're weights, and so I'm able just to let go of the stress of all the day, leave it at the gym, and so you know it's a day, almost a reset for when I get home.
Wow. That's huge. I mean, that's because I know that they're just me knowing the numbers and that you've lost weight and you've lost body fat. But these are some of the things that I don't think get talked about enough, the intangibles of how you feel and how you treat your family and how you handle stress as a result altogether. That's huge, man. Thanks for sharing those things.
Yeah, yeah, it's you know, and one of the things, you know, my wife Lynn, she brought it up, and you know, at first you're just kind of like, whatever. But the more you think about it, the more it makes a lot of sense. Is you have to be able to celebrate the non-scale victories. You know, it can't all just be about hitting a certain number. Um, because you might be disappointed, you know, at the time it may take, but it's, you know, celebrating the journey along the way. And that's been one of the fun parts is being able to celebrate the journey and the non-number successes throughout the time, throughout our time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. And it's cool to see how both of those hand in hand have worked together and some of maybe talk about some of the scale victories too. There's some of the things that you saw in the numbers because I know that was a part of your goals as well. You had some number goals in there, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. So I did have some number goals in mind, and um, you know we did really well on them. So throughout the entire program, I ended up losing just over I believe 16 pounds. But that number I think is a good number. But the number that I think really stands out the most is we lost just about 16 inches in the measurements, and so
Wow.
that really, you know, when we move the inches around, it makes it almost is an illusion of losing a ton of weight because we're, you know, just moving everything around and you know, recomposing the body. And I think that was uh, one of the things because it also shows that we're gaining muscle, I believe as well in the process that we're having significant muscle gain. Um, you know, not looking like a bodybuilder, but just gaining muscle, and that's where the inches are melting from.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we talked 14 or so weeks ago, that was a big deal. I mean, the pounds and the inches. You also had a very specific goal in mind as well in relation to a wedding that you were, you know, working your way up towards. And that was a cool moment when we got to that week where that wedding was and you were fitting in the tux. You know, can you share a moment about that story about that time, maybe some of the feedback that you got and just how that experience went from your goals when we first met, you know, pointing towards this wedding and then what actually happened when you got there.
Yeah, yeah. So just a 30-second backstory. One of my best friends in the entire world got, you know, picked out suits. And so I went to the plate, you know, to the department store. And, you know, the young lady there helping me goes, well, these are slim fit suits and you, sir, are not a slim fit. And so that was, you know, rather embarrassing. And so, you know, they ordered me the largest size that they could order a slim suit in. And, you know, it wasn't a good fit. And so part of it was, okay, you know, I want to look good for my buddy. I want to look good for his wedding. And, you know, I want to feel good in the suit. Um, and so, you know, we worked and worked and worked and, you know, weight and inches and, you know, muscle mass gain and body fat down. And, you know, the week before the wedding, you know, we tried on the suit, and the suit was a little big. Not a lot, but a little big, and that was a really good feeling. And then, you know, people who had not seen me for a couple months, you know, saw me the day of the wedding and you know the night of the rehearsal, and the number of compliments. You know, people just walk up to me and comment on, you know, how much they can tell I've lost and that I've lost a significant amount of weight. Um, it was so gratifying because when you're going day to day and you're going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week, and you're trying to figure out, okay, is this piece of chicken, is it a fistful? Is it 6 ounces? And you're trying to figure out your carbs, and you're like, this can get a little monotonous. But when you do something like that, and the end result is all the people complimenting you, you're like, okay, they do see the hard work that's been put in. You don't do it all for the recognition. You obviously want your own health, but it certainly doesn't hurt when family and friends are like, keep up the good work. We notice you've worked hard at it, and that's always nice.
Yeah, man, that's huge. And it's so cool to see the process and the journey that you've been on. And every day you've taken a step forward. And I'm seeing that even now you're continuing to take a step forward, beyond the 12 weeks. And I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and I'm grateful to be able to work with you and to be able to coach you through, because it's been just an incredible process for you, and me getting to be a part of your successes and your story and the things that have changed in your family and in your just personal life. I mean, that's huge. And so I want to thank you for being able to allow me to be your coach and take this time, and just sending us off here. If you wouldn't mind, maybe just speaking to that person that is in that place now that you were in, or a similar place, and they're on the fence. Maybe they're thinking about moving forward with me, or they're just stuck and they don't even know what options they have to begin with. How would you inspire and encourage that person that's in that place right now?
Yeah, I would just encourage anybody to um, take the leap of faith. That if you want results that you've never had, you have to try things that you've never done. And there's a lot of ways that you could go about it um, on your own, but there is something to be said about somebody there having having your back, but B, being there, uh, to hold you accountable. You know, there were days, as I'm sure everybody who works out, there are days where it's just like, I am so busy, carving out an hour to go to the gym is just not, or your body's sore, or it's lagging behind. And having that accountability that, there's somebody there who wants the best for me, who's encouraging me, who took a lot of time to put together a plan for me, um, really just allows you, even if you don't give it 100%, the fact that you show up to the gym and that you're there and you're going through the motions, it all adds up, because even on those days when you don't want to go and you do go, those days matter. And just really having the accountability and a lot of the guesswork out of it was a big part of it. Knowing that I could just go to the gym, look at the app, okay, I now know what I got to do, and off we go.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's huge. That's a big deal. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time, and thank you for your trust through the process. And I had your back then, and I can continue to have your back now, and just all this time through the process. And so thanks, man, again for taking your time. I sure appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jacob.